Frank Lucas was an American drug trafficker who operated in Harlem, New York City during the late 1960s and early 70s. He was known for cutting out middlemen in the drug trade and buying heroin directly from his source in the Golden Triangle in Southeast Asia. Lucas boasted that he smuggled heroin using the coffins of dead American servicemen, as depicted in the feature film American Gangster, which fictionalized aspects of his life. This claim is denied by his Southeast Asian associate, Leslie Ike Atkinson. Before we get into the video, do like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon. In 1976, Lucas was convicted of drug trafficking and sentenced to 70 years in prison, but after becoming an informant, he and his family were placed in the Witness Protection Program. In 1981, his federal and state prison sentences were reduced to time served plus lifetime parole. In 1984, he was convicted on drug charges and was released from prison in 1991. Lucas was born in LaGrange, North Carolina to Fred and Mahalie Lucas and raised in Greensboro, North Carolina. He said that the incident that sparked his motivation to embark on a life of crime was having witnessed his 12-year-old cousin's murder at the hands of the Ku Klux Klan for apparently reckless eyeballing a Caucasian woman in Goldsboro. He drifted through a life of petty crime until one occasion when he got into a fight with a former employer whose daughter Frank had been having an affair with. In the fight, Lucas hit the father on the head with a pipe, knocking him unconscious. He then stole $400 from the company till and set the establishment on fire. Later, Frank fled to New York City at the behest of his mother, who feared that he would either be imprisoned for life or lynched. Once in Harlem, he quickly began indulging in petty crime and pool hustling before he was taken under the wing of gangster Bumpy Johnson. Lucas's connection to Johnson has since come under some doubt. He claimed to have been Johnson's driver for 15 years, although Johnson spent just 5 years out of prison before his death in 1968. According to Johnson's widow, much of the narrative that Lucas claimed that he belonged to another young hustler named Zach Walker, who lived with Johnson and his family and later betrayed him. After Johnson's death, Lucas traveled around and realized that to be successful, he would have to break the monopoly that the Italian mafia held in New York. Traveling to Bangkok, Thailand, he eventually made his way to Jack's American Star Bar, an R&R hangout for black soldiers. It was here that he met former U.S. Army Sergeant Leslie Ike Atkinson, who was from Goldsboro, North Carolina, and married one of Lucas's cousins. Lucas is quoted as saying, "Ike knew everyone over there, every black guy in the Army from the cooks on up." When interviewed for a New York Magazine article published in 2000, Lucas denied putting the drugs among the corpses of American soldiers. Instead, he flew with a North Carolina carpenter to Bangkok and, "We did it all right, ha ha ha. Who the hell is gonna look in a dead soldier's coffin, ha ha ha. We had him make up 28 copies of the government coffins, except we fixed them up with false bottoms, big enough to load up with 6, maybe 8 kilos. It had to be snug. You couldn't have shit sliding around. Ike was very smart because he made sure we used heavy guys' coffins. He didn't put them in any skinny guys." However, Atkinson, nicknamed Sergeant Smack by the Drug Enforcement Administration, has said he shipped drugs in furniture, not caskets. Whatever method he used, Lucas smuggled the drugs into the U.S. with this direct link from Asia. Lucas said that he made $1 million per day selling drugs on 116th Street, though this was later discovered to be an exaggeration. Federal Judge Sterling Johnson, who was the special narcotics prosecutor for the city of New York at the time of Lucas's crimes, called Lucas's operation one of the most outrageous international dope smuggling gangs ever, an innovator who got his connections outside the U.S. and then sold the narcotics himself in the street. In an interview, Lucas said, "I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be Donald Trump rich, and so help me God, I made it." Lucas trusted only relatives and close friends from North Carolina to handle his various heroin operations. Lucas thought they were less likely to steal from him and be tempted by various vices in the big city. He stated his heroin, Blue Magic, was 98 to 100% pure when shipped from Thailand. Lucas has been quoted as saying that his worth was something like $52 million, most of it in Cayman Islands banks. Added to this is maybe 1,000 keys of dope on hand, with a potential profit of no less than $300,000 per kilo. This huge profit margin allowed him to buy property all over the country, including office buildings in Detroit and apartments in Los Angeles and Miami. He also bought a ranch of several thousand acres in North Carolina on which he ranged 300 head of black Angus cattle, including a breeding bull worth $125,000. Lucas rubbed shoulders with the elite of the entertainment, political, and criminal worlds. stating later that he had met Howard Hughes at one of Harlem's best clubs in his day. Though he owned several milk and chinchilla coats and other accessories, Lucas much preferred to dress casually and corporately so as not to attract attention to himself. When he was arrested in the mid-1970s, all of Lucas's assets were seized. The properties in Chicago, Detroit, Miami, North Carolina, and Puerto Rico, they took everything. My lawyer told me they couldn't take the money in the offshore accounts, and I had all my money stored in the Cayman Islands. But that's BS. They can take it. Take my word for it. If you got something, hide it, because they can go to any bank and take it. Lucas's wife, Julie Ferrate, was also convicted for her role in her husband's criminal enterprise and spent 5 years in prison. After she was released, the couple lived separately for some years, and Ferrant moved back to Puerto Rico. After several years, however, they reconciled, and according to a December 2007 Village Voice article, had been married for 40 years at the time. Lucas fathered 7 children, including a daughter, Francine Lucas Sinclair, and a son, Frank Lucas Jr. Lucas Sinclair entered the Witness Protection Program with Lucas in 1977 and has since started a website, Yellow Brick Road, containing resources for the children of imprisoned parents. Lucas was known to be eclectic in his religious preferences, having converted to the Catholic faith while at a prison in Elmira, which he stated he did because the prison chaplain assisted inmates being released on parole. He had Baptist affiliations as well. In January 1975, Lucas's house in Teaneck, New Jersey, was raided by a task force consisting of 10 agents from Group 22 of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration and 10 New York Police Department detectives attached to the Organized Crime Control Bureau. In his house, authorities found $584,683 in cash, though Lucas contended that the officers executing the search departed with the full $11 million temporarily stored in his attic and documented only 5% of the currency seized. He was later convicted of both federal and New Jersey state drug violations. The following year, he was sentenced to 70 years in prison. Once convicted, Lucas provided evidence that led to more than 100 further drug-related convictions. For his safety in 1977, Lucas and his family were placed in the Witness Protection Program. In 1981, after 5 years in custody, his 40-year federal term and 30-year state term were reduced to time served, plus lifetime parole. In 1984, he was caught and convicted of trying to exchange 1 ounce of heroin and $13,000 for 1 kilogram of cocaine. He received a sentence of 7 years and was released from prison in 1991. In his last years, Lucas was confined to a wheelchair due to a car accident that broke his legs. Lucas died at the age of 88 on May 30, 2019 in Cedar Grove, New Jersey. Okay guys, that's pretty much it for this video. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.